Welcome back. We are now in the last chapter of the book Outliers. In the final chapter of Time's Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell shares a story that is very personal to him, his mother's story. Through her experiences, he brings together the book's main ideas, including opportunity, history, and cultural background. Her story helps explain how these factors can shape a person's success. The story begins with a short line from an old law written in the 1700s. At first, it may seem strange and unrelated. But as the story unfolds, we'll see that this one sentence plays an important role in understanding everything that follows. Let's start by looking at what appears to be a simple success story, the life of Malcolm Gladwell's mother, Joyce Gladwell. At first, Joyce Gladwell's story seems like a classic success story. She grew up in a small village, worked hard in school, earned a scholarship, attended a top university, and built a successful life for herself and her family. It appears to be a perfect example of how talent and determination can lead to success. But then Gladwell introduces an unexpected idea. Everything we just learned about Joyce is true. She was talented, worked hard, and achieved great success. However, Gladwell argues that her story is incomplete. To fully understand her success, we need to look beyond her individual effort and examine the opportunities and circumstances that helped make it possible. The first clue comes from something surprising. To understand Joyce's success, we need to look at events that happened when she was very young, events that she had no control over and that had nothing to do with her own choices. This timeline shows how important timing and opportunity can be. A series of events led the government to create a new scholarship program. Just 1 year later, Joyce and her sister were the right age to take the first scholarship exam. Suddenly, an opportunity became available that had not existed only a few years earlier. Their success was not just about talent and hard work, it was also about being in the right place at the right time. And that's Gladwell's main point. Joyce's success did not begin only with her own hard work and ambition. It also began with opportunities created by events that happened before she had any control over her life. The scholarship program, the actions of others, and even the year she was born all helped shape her future. In many ways, her opportunity was a result of history. But having an opportunity is not enough on its own. Someone has to recognize it and take advantage of it. In Joyce's case, that person was her mother, Daisy Nation. When the opportunity appeared, Daisy encouraged her daughters to pursue it and worked hard to make sure they made the most of it. Joyce's mother, Daisy Nation, played a major role in her success. Unlike Joyce's father, who was more reserved, Daisy was determined and ambitious for her daughters. When only one scholarship was available, she still found a way to send both girls to a good school. Later, when Joyce was accepted to a university in London but did not have enough money to attend, Daisy worked hard to find a solution. She even persuaded a local shopkeeper to lend her the money she needed. Daisy's determination helped turn opportunities into reality. Years later, Joyce reflected on how much she depended on her mother. As a child, she rarely worried about how things would work out because she trusted that her mother would find a way. Daisy's determination and belief in her daughters became another important reason for Joyce's success. This leads to another important question: where did Daisy's determination and ambition come from? To answer that, Gladwell looks even further back into history. He traces her family's story all the way to the 1700s, where a difficult and complicated decision helped shape the opportunities that later generations would receive. This part of the story begins in the 1700s. An Irish plantation owner named William Ford and an enslaved woman from West Africa had a son named John. He was born into a society where ideas about race and social status were different from those in many other places at the time. These circumstances would have a lasting impact on future generations of his family. At that time in Jamaica, the social system was different from the one in the American South. Because the black population greatly outnumbered the white population, many mixed race people were given more opportunities. Some received an education, learned skilled trades, and became part of a growing middle class. This gave them advantages that were often unavailable to people of African descent in places where racial laws were much stricter. The effects of this history could still be seen many generations later. By the 1950s, mixed-race Jamaicans made up a small part of the population, but many held important positions in fields such as government, business, and the professions. Gladwell argues that this was not simply a coincidence. It was the result of opportunities and advantages that had been passed down through generations. Now we can see the bigger picture. Joyce's success was not the result of hard work alone. It was shaped by many factors, including history, family support, community, and opportunities that had been built over generations. Her story shows how success is often influenced by both personal effort and the circumstances around us. In her memoir, Joyce reflects on a difficult realization. After experiencing racism while living in London, she began to understand that her family's opportunities had also been shaped by unfair social systems in Jamaica. She recognized that some of the advantages her family received over generations came from historical inequalities. This moment helped her see how deeply history and social conditions can influence people's lives. This is Gladwell's final message. Joyce's success was about much more than her own talent and hard work. It was shaped by many factors, including historical events, her mother's determination, the support of people around her, and opportunities that had been passed down through generations. Her story shows that success is often the result of both individual effort and the advantages and opportunities provided by others. And that is the final lesson of Time's Outliers. Successful people are not shaped by talent alone. Their achievements are influenced by their families, communities, culture, opportunities, and the time and place in which they live. Gladwell argues that when we look closely at any success story, we find that many different factors have helped make that success possible. The book ends with an important question. Joyce Gladwell's story is not just about one person's success. It also makes us think about all the talented people who never received the same opportunities or support. Outliers Times challenges us to consider how many future leaders, inventors, artists, and thinkers might succeed if they were given the chance. How many other outliers are out there simply waiting for an opportunity to shine? And that's the story of Time's Outliers. Thanks for watching, and remember, success is not just about talent. It's also about the opportunities we are given and what we do with them.
If you'd like more personalized feedback, writing support, and discussion sessions, they're available with me or with our selected tutors. All the details are here.